So becoming a web developer requires core skills in certain languages and then a decision later as to what framework or underlying technology you're going to focus and use from that point forward. But in this video, what I want to do is discuss the core skills you need to obtain to get started on your journey to becoming a web developer. This video is brought to you by the Learn Programming Academy's Complete Xamarin Developer course. Learn how to build cross-platform Android and iOS apps with the 28 hours of video training included. Visit lpa.dev/YouTube Xamarin or click on the link in the description below. Welcome back, my name is Tim Buchalka with another programming tip of the day, and we're talking here about the core skills you need in order to get started, to start your journey to becoming a web developer. Now just a quick warning here that this is a single video, so I can't hope to explain everything in detail, so I'm grossly simplifying concepts in this video. So keep in mind that obviously you'll need to take things to the next level to really understand this, but this should get you started. Alright, so moving on, we're going to start with the first of the three skills I'm talking about. Core skill number 1, HTML. HTML stands for Hypertext Markup Language, and incidentally, a markup language is a system for annotating a document within text. So the text we're talking about for Hypertext Markup Language, or HTML, is the text that you want displayed on a web page. So let's have a look at an example of some HTML code now. So note how both the text to be displayed on the page as well as the HTML itself are mixed together in a single page of text. And here I'm highlighting the HTML components of this web page. HTML elements are the building blocks of HTML pages. Now there's a lot of HTML elements, but you can do all sorts of things like, for example, placing an image, bolding some text on the screen, adding headings to the page, and there's a lot more you can actually do there. Now what happens is that your computer browser reads a page of HTML and interprets these HTML elements as well as grabbing the text that's in that page and then renders that page into your browser, onto your browser. And render, by the way, is just a fancy word for displaying. So basically the computer browser grabs that text file, renders it, puts it together, and then displays it basically on the browser page. Alright, so that's HTML, Hypertext Markup Language. So moving on now to the second of our core skills, core skill number 2, CSS. So CSS, that stands for Cascading Style Sheets, and CSS is used to format content on web pages. So let's have a look at some CSS stored in a separate file here. Now CSS works with HTML and it can do things like define font sizes, color, spacing, borders, and so on, things of that nature, more the presentation side of things. And where CSS is particularly powerful, it's allowing a relatively easy way for you to apply styles across either an entire website or series of pages. So CSS allows you to separate the presentation and the content, which I think is pretty cool. Alright, so that was core skill number 2, CSS, Cascading Style Sheets. Let's move on to core skill number 3, JavaScript. Now, firstly, not to be confused with Java, JavaScript and Java have almost nothing in common other than the name, and they are completely different things. Here we're talking about JavaScript. So JavaScript is the programming language for the web. So anytime you see a web page doing something more than just displaying a static text or a static set of images, more than likely JavaScript is involved in some way, shape or form. So let's check out some sample JavaScript code now. So JavaScript enables you to create dynamically updating content for a web page. You can animate stuff, you can enhance web page user interfaces with menus, dialog boxes, and so on and so forth. And in fact, it can even work with 2D and 3D graphics, games, and a ton of other stuff. Alright, so that's JavaScript, core skill number 3. So just to have a quick now summary of those 3 skills that we've talked about today. HTML, which was core skill number 1, that describes the page, including the text and graphics that are going to be on that page. CSS, our core skill number 2, that's used to control and customize the look of the page. And core skill number 3, JavaScript, that adds dynamic components and makes most elements of the page programmable in some way, shape or form. So these 3 core skills are used in pretty well all web development frameworks and technologies. So good knowledge of these 3 things is absolutely essential for you to become a web developer. Now, my Learn Programming Academy has a combined HTML and CSS course to get you up to speed fast with HTML and CSS if you need to do that. And I've also got a dedicated JavaScript course, which will, no surprises there, teach you JavaScript if that's something you need as well. So every web developer needs to know HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. Once you've got those 3 core skills, you can then take the next step, and that next step would be choosing the methodologies, other programming languages and frameworks to actually start creating your web apps. And that technology or methodology can be anything from PHP to Java to Django, Spring, and a ton more. There's so many frameworks and technologies and methodologies that you can actually use that I can't hope to possibly cover that in a single video. But I will create a video about that sort of stuff in the future. Alrighty, so I hope that helped. If you've got any questions, feel free to leave a comment and I'll get back to you. If you're ready to look at the next tip, click on up here and you can check that out. If you're interested in coding specific programming videos, click on the link in the bottom left-hand corner. Consider subscribing by clicking on the link up here, and I'll see you soon.